All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we are blessed to have a true legend in the PUA community. So, when it comes to the topic of meeting and dating high quality women, there's a massive sub niche or subsect of that involves primarily meeting women online through dating apps, text games, stuff like that. And this man that I have with me today doesn't simply make content within that niche, he is the niche himself. He's been making content on this topic, like Tinder and stuff like that, ever since the app surfaced. So, Tinder, Bumble, he was making content ever since they first surfaced, ever since we started using them. And you can't really think of like, how can I get girls on Tinder? How can I optimize a profile? You certainly can't go to YouTube and search any of those terms without running into this guy. And of course, I am talking about my friend Alex Vilenchik from Playing with Fire. I said your name correctly, right? It's Alex Vilenchik. Close enough. I speak English, Spanish, and Portuguese, not Russian yet. Anyway, this guy is a pioneer. He is an innovator. He is a wizard. He's going to give us a genius text game masterclass. We're going to talk about optimizing dating profiles, getting matches. We're going to talk about why men struggle and what they can do to fix it. Struggle in dating, primarily why men are struggling dating. And then later, towards the end, we're possibly going to get his take on a juicy little beef that he had with my good friends, Fresh and Fit. So make it a little awkward because those guys are good friends of mine. But anyway, pleasure to have you on the show, my friend.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. That was a very, very flattering introduction, but I appreciate the kind words. The only small correction is Tinder came out in like 2013. I didn't start making content until like 2017. So I was definitely not the first person, but so I started making content about dating apps about 4 years after the Tinder came out.
I take it all back then. You're a fraud.
Yeah.
So why don't you give us the quick like how you got into it? Yeah, so I guess Tinder. Yeah, if you look up like when did Tinder come out in Wikipedia, I'm sure you're right. It was 2013. I remember it didn't really hit mainstream use until 2014, 2015. That's when you probably started using it, and I guess making content shortly after. But yeah, how did you get to become like the face of optimizing dating apps and teaching guys text game and all this stuff?
I'm flattered by the statement that I'm the face of it. How did I start? I mean, essentially, I struggled. I was a little bit actually late to the dating app scene. So in 2013, 14, I started really getting into pickup. Yeah, maybe 2013. And then I actually rejected dating apps for a period of time. But there was just too many anecdotes from my friends who were like, dude, like, what the fuck are you doing? I just banged like 4 or 5 hot girls in the last like 2 weeks from Tinder, and they would like show me photos, and I'd be like, "Oh, damn, yeah." And then the ultimate turning point came actually when I used a creator Craigslist ad, and I had like a pretty hot chick come straight to my place, and we banged within 5 minutes. And then I did kind of a 180 on my whole take on dating apps. So after that, I started really, exploring them. I think cold approach has its benefits for sure, but I think dating apps are more efficient. The vast majority of the girls, maybe like 70% of the girls I've slept with, 75, are from dating apps. So definitely a sizable chunk. But yeah, I mean, really the biggest reason I focused on dating apps because around that time frame, 2015, 2016, I was working a very, very time intensive sales job. So I didn't really have time to do cold approach. So that's why I really started dialing down on dating apps.
Awesome. Yeah. So this is the Craigslist masterclass. Everybody, teach you how to optimize your
Unfortunately,
your
you
Craigslist.
can't do it because they took down the casual encounter section.
Yeah, there was like a Craigslist killer. I know he contributed to that. So I can relate a lot to what you're saying. I rejected dating apps first. I thought they were totally useless. I thought they basically didn't work. Obviously maybe okay for the top 1 or 2% of guys. And something that I talk about a lot that maybe you can relate to too is that every guy started off as a simp when it comes to meeting women in person. Every guy out there, you're like, I'll do her homework for her, and if I do her homework for her, she'll like me, and then she'll want to hold my hand and kiss me. But then maybe you have an older brother, friends to model. You go out, to these things called malls, where people used to go out and communicate face to face before the lockdowns and everything became digital. Either way, and there's just a lot more information on. There's been books about this, and it's kind of like a rabbits in a cage thing. You just, men and women in a room together, you'll figure out how to find your masculine vibe and connect with her on a feminine level. But
Some,
you,
some will.
I mean, you could also study this too, and I think it is a bit more natural. But like, I make the analogy: if you were raised by wolves in the forest, someone just ditched you in the forest, you would learn to use your legs and your arms. Like, you'd be like, I have these arms, I can pick up things, and I can like, these are my legs, and I can walk. No one has to teach you how to use your legs. You would figure it out. But you have to learn English or Spanish or Portuguese. Someone has to teach you a language, and online dating is the same way. Would you agree? You have to be formally taught it. It's not something that'll just talk to a bunch of girls, get your vibe right, it'll kind of autocorrect. It's like, no, you really need to like take an academic approach to this. Would you agree?
Generally, yes, for most people, but there's a small percentage of people who just get it, like kind of naturals. They don't really need much practice. They just nail it, like within the first few months. But for most people, maybe 95% plus of guys, yeah, they need to learn. I mean, they could do the trial and error themselves. It'll take years. It'll be
Yeah.
super frustrating. Like I did, I had to do that. But yeah, like why would you? Like you might
And
as
they,
well just
yeah,
learn from other people's mistakes.
watch our content and buy our courses. But yeah, it's because it's just kind of weird. Like, ooh, am I better at this angle with this kind of smirk? Or should I go full toothy smile? Should I try to make myself laugh at the critical moment? It's like a weird thing for a guy. It's almost like a feminine thing to kind of worry about. I always say, if I have to learn how to look pretty in photos, if I have to be a little bit gay to get pussy, then I'm all
Have you
for it.
ever
But
tried to create a profile as a girl and just see what the average guy's doing with their dating apps?
yeah, I definitely have. But I want you to tell your story. I know you did that with a, let's just say, well, I'll let you tell the story. There was a video about it. Why don't you know which video I'm referring to, right? You
Oh,
did this
there's
at an
multiple.
extreme.
There's the fat girl, there's the beast
Yeah,
girl, there's the grandma one. I've done so many
give
experiments.
us. I want to jump into a friendly little challenge and get into the text game masterclass. But why don't you give us a quick rundown because it's hilarious of the fat one. I saw the video, but I'll let you tell the story.
Are we talking about the fat girl or the beast girl? Because I did one for a beast
The
girl. Like,
the one where you were intentionally trying to be the most unattractive girl possible, and guys basically still simped over you or were willing to go out.
let's not say me, this fictional fatty. Okay,
Yeah. The
it
the
wasn't
fatty
like I
that you.
was like doing this for my own sexual gratification. Like, yeah, look at all this thing. Yeah, I think you're referring to the Beast Girl experiment. So yeah, we used like a girl who weighs like 300 pounds. She's just insanely unattractive. We want to find what is truly like a one. Because we did this with a fat girl, a chubby girl, and guys were like, "Well, she's not that bad." Who I thought was bad, so I was like, "Okay, let me find a true one." And that actually was harder than it looks. We had to go through a lot of fucking fat girls' Instagrams and shit, but we found one and we used her. And yeah, I think it was something like 400 likes in 24 hours. And there were some guys in there that were chats for sure. And
But
yeah,
just to clarify, you're catfishing. You're making a fake profile as a legit 1 out of 10, just in case some guys miss that.
yeah. So yeah, 400 likes in 24 hours blew my mind. But
No,
also,
no boost, no premium.
no. Well, yes, we did have to get Tinder Gold so we could see the amount of likes.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, but
Okay.
no boost or anything like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, like there was a lot of guys who were like real thirsty over this fatty. I remember some guys were just like, "I find you really attractive." I'm like, "Really?" I don't remember exactly what some of the openers were, but there's some really, really thirsty guys trying to bang this fat chick or this obese girl. Sorry, I should clarify.
Yeah. Nutritionally undisciplined. And I remember, you were even, what's the word? You weren't being pleasant over text, and even still, the guys were trying to jump through her hoops. Okay, that's funny. Else, yeah, go to his channel. The channel's just called Playing with Fire, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah. So the channel's his YouTube channel's Playing with Fire. Later we'll plug the website. I think the website's like playingwithfire.co, or if I mess that up, don't worry, it'll be in the
Just
description.
playingfire.com. Yeah.
Playingfire.com.
.com.
Okay.
There's no with. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was probably taken. Probably don't want to pay 10 grand for that domain. Okay, cool. So let's get into the juice. Actually, I want to start off with like a friendly challenge. We'll see who wins this one here. This is going to be interesting. So this is based off of something that Alex teaches, and I do it myself. I don't know if I originally heard it from you. I've been doing this for a long time. I may have actually stole this from you, but I'm going to share my screen right now.
Okay.
And this is pre-recorded, but we're doing this live. Live-ish. We're not. I promise I won't. Cut this so anybody looks cooler. So this is Instagram, one of my Instagram accounts. What I'm going to do is refresh this so everything is like this is not rehearsed or anything. And then Alex, I'm going to just kind of I can scroll on my.
That's my Instagram too. It's just all like big titty, big booty girls.
Why don't we do this just so people should I'm going to open a couple of these into new tabs, and then you and I are going to make conversation based on their content, which I know is you're a big fan of, and I'm a big fan too. A lot of guys are like, well, how do you start the conversation? I may use some type of generic opener. We'll talk about openers in a second, but then the first thing I go for immediately after is talking about making conversation based on the type of photos that they post, what's in their bio, what's in their stories, their captions, whatever. So,
Hmm.
Alex, as I scroll, should I do this first one? Why not? We'll do this first one that came up,
Sure.
and then let's just do a couple. Let's skip a couple, just so people know they're random. Which we won't open Rolo or your buddy David, but let's look for a couple more girls. I don't know. You just say yes or no, and I'll open.
Whatever. It's up to you. Just pick whichever ones you
Sure. All
want.
right. I'll just pick some. I'll do it myself then. Yeah. Or just I don't even know. I'll do this blonde up here. Okay. I'll tell you what. I'll start us off, and then you can go. And again, where the challenge is here, and you guys can let us know in the comments who you think did a slightly better job.
So we're talking
Not that
about
I,
openers, right? We're talking about the
yeah.
best opener.
Or
Okay.
well, you know what? It could be an. Oh, I'm not going to do that one because I'm trying to do girls that like I have no idea who I even like remember
And
why I
we
follow
are
them.
going to this with assumption that they all speak English, right?
Yeah, unfortunately their profiles might be in Spanish because I lived in Colombia, so I may have a bit of an advantage on like captions and stuff, but whatever.
Okay. I'll just for I think for to level it out, we should just assume that they all speak English because if they don't, if I suspect they don't speak English, my opener will be very different because I'll want to first make sure how much
Oh,
they understand me.
yeah, we
So
can talk in English. All I'm saying is like, for example, if I click on her photo, this one says hello with a heart, with a white heart, but like
yeah, that's fine.
their captions will be in Spanish. Not that okay, her captions are just emojis anyway, so no
That's
help.
fine. I'll
So
just go off the photos anyway. It doesn't matter.
okay, so all right, I'll go first. So if I was to I don't know, make conversation based on this girl's content, I always use a generic opener. Actually, I'll just give away my opener. My opener is pretty much something that always evokes curiosity. I call it the curiosity based opener. And it's usually something to the effect of, um, hey, I noticed we have a few things in common. And then I'll just say anything. We're both cute. We both live in Medellin. We're both entrepreneurs. We both like the gym. We both have blue eyes, and we're both whatever, something like that. And then afterwards, I would immediately send a voice note going on her content. And for this girl, I would say, I'd say it looks like you're showing, just the right amount of skin. I think you definitely toe the line between being sexy and classy, and I love it. There's, very cute professional modeling photos, but I definitely wouldn't say it goes overboard into too much. You kept it very classy. And then she maybe talks about her career or something like that. And then actually another thing I could say is like, I really love this look. I think this look is really cute. You look like a little Sex in the City girl. You got your pink blazer. I really have a thing for intelligent girls. I'm kind of a sapiosexual, and it goes perfectly with the heels. It's so adorable.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's something I could say on her. And then okay, I think I'm done with this girl.
Okay.
Um,
So
well,
do you
actually,
want me to?
yeah. What did you? And actually, what would you as a dating coach? What do you rate that?
I mean, there's parts of it I like, parts of it that I'm more neutral on. Um, yeah,
It's
I
very
mean,
very verbose. We'll talk about that later. I know you have a different style. You're more succinct.
yeah. So if you want to know how I would do it, so if I'm gonna directly like reference her, which I think is always a good idea, I would reply to one of her stories. So click on one of her stories. Click on her stories.
Also, it's gonna play choppy on the recording. Okay, it's just yeah, some bullshit in Spanish. I don't
Western
think you can read
collection.
that.
Okay. Then what
It's that
else?
same modeling
Photo of
photo.
her. Okay. What else?
And this is playing choppy for the viewer. It doesn't. It's like a red carpet event or something like that. Money hats
Okay. Yeah. What else? And then the last one.
is she's cheersing too. They look like Moscow mules. She's cheersing with someone
Okay, so there's multiple options here. Number one is I might just reply to that. Here, click on those again, please.
on the
Uh,
on the
I'm
drinks.
Yeah, I might reply. There's multiple options here. I might reply to the drinks and be like, "Is that a Moscow Mule?" Right? And then if she says yes, it is, I'd be like, "Oh, cool. Those are my favorite." Or like, "Oh, cool. I'm from Russia, so we drink those all the time," or something like that. Just kind of build in a little banter and then start transitioning it. Go back to the some of the previous stories.
You could say Moscow mule, just like mom used to make.
Not this one. What's the other one? Well, actually, even with this one, I might say, "Oh, I didn't know you went to my club or something like that, or whatever the fuck this is. Oh, I didn't know you were at my event." I want
Yeah.
to make a
Who?
joke out of
Yeah.
that. Go back to the previous one. Okay, so I might reply to this. I might say something like, uh, something like, "I like the pose. Um, how how many photos did you have to take to nail that one?"
Yeah.
Something
It's a
like
classic.
that.
Yeah.
Because
Let's.
obviously she had to take a bunch of photos, so she'll kind of laugh at it. But essentially, yeah, my style would be just to kind of go in a little with Instagram. It's a little different for Tinder, but go in under the radar, reply to one of the stories. Um, Now, if there is something I can connect with her on, like for example, she did something that I did or something like that, I'll probably lead with that. But with this girl, it doesn't seem like we actually have anything like directly in common that I can see off Instagram. So yeah, I would just kind of make a unique observation slash joke about one of her stories.
Gotcha. Do you want to go first on this one, or do you want me to go
Sure.
first?
It
All
doesn't
right.
matter. Yeah, I can go first. Just click on her stories.
Sure. And it's always going to be the stories. Okay. Gotcha. So we've got.
Yeah.
And again, for the viewer watching this at home, I know it's playing choppy. It's just it looks like her wearing glasses, and she's just saying some presumably Spanish bullshit into a phone.
Okay. Let's keep going.
Yeah, same thing. It
Okay,
says,
let's keep going.
"Y las hago reír el día de hoy sería
What does that mean?
inolvidable." And I'm going to make them laugh today. Today will be unforgettable.
Oh, so she says I'm gonna make them laugh today.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Y
I could
las
I could
hago reír el día de hoy será. Yeah, like I make them laugh. Today will be unforgettable.
I might make a joke here. For example, if I riff off that, I might say, um, "Oh, you don't have to make me laugh," or something like that. Or how are you gonna make me laugh? With like a smirking emoji.
Nice.
I might riff off that, but it's not like
Interesting.
one I'm super strong about. All right, let's keep going
Yeah.
with her other stories. Let me
Same
see.
thing. The only thing I guarantee is that my girlfriends will always laugh when they're with me.
Okay, let's keep going. She's just in that outfit a lot. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah. I'm surprised you're not using the what's the classic line that I'm trying to steal from you right now, based on
I
this.
like her sexy nerd glasses.
I like your sexy nerd glasses, dude. That's perfect. Yeah. Again, I typically so for me, I would steal Alex's line. So this all credit goes to Alex. I would say, yeah. You look so adorable in your sexy nerd glasses. I always say I prefer girls with big brains over big tits any day of the week, something like that, right? Or maybe not. I might not use the word tits, but yeah, just again, I always talk about um,
I think
how I
that
like
opener
smart
is
girls.
good for Tinder and other dating apps. With Instagram, I try to go a little bit more under the radar if I can. It's a totally different ballpark. What does it say?
They
Pedophiles.
dismantle, yeah, pedophile ring in Colombia. So,
Pedophile.
yeah, they captured 185 criminals or something like that. Some modeling photo. It says strong legs, strong mind, thanks to the gym.
Uh,
I could do something simple here. Be like, yeah, you look really cute in this photo. I love a girl that goes to the gym. I could never date a girl long term that didn't take care of herself by going to the gym.
yeah, my like friendly critique is that it's a bit long. I try to keep it to a sentence, maybe two sentences at most. Uh, I might. So she's clearly posing here very hard. Um, I might say something like, uh, I might say something similar to what I mentioned for the other girl. Um, that's a solid pose. How many photos do you have to take to nail that one? And add like a winky emoji so she knows I'm
Mm-hmm.
not like trying to be rude. Um, uh,
Yeah. So one thing too here that I want to iterate. A
or
big
maybe I
thing.
would say something like, sorry, what just one legs are on point, but how is the upper back though? With like one of those like wondering
Flex the
emojis.
traps, girl. Flex the traps. Move the
Yeah,
hair. I
be
don't
like
date girls with big
legs look
traps.
good, but are you doing calves with like one
Yeah,
of those
yeah, yeah. Let's
something
see the
like that? Yeah,
calves.
yeah.
I want to see you from behind, and I'm talking about the calves, FYI, not the
Just the
yeah,
calves. Yeah.
just the cat. Yeah, legs are good from the front, but I want to see you from behind, FYI, just the calves, like that. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick fire round. I could talk about bilingual, so I would send a voice message in English and two things I wanted to mention. Number one is I'm big on repeating a lot of the same shit because the flake rate on girls is pretty high, especially if you're going after truly beautiful
I
girls that
agree.
like
Yeah.
let's say, they're under 25, they're beautiful, they have no tattoos, no children, don't do OnlyFans, they're feminine, and they know it. The options are just, it would baffle you.
Well, I would actually say that the OnlyFans girls with tattoos probably get more guys hitting them up. Honestly.
Fair enough, but yeah, fair enough. I mean, even your fat chick got 400 likes, but I'm just trying to say that girls are flaky. Is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Whether they're tattooed on OnlyFans or not. So the lower effort I can use, we're gonna get into like a full on text game masterclass. I mean, we're kind of already in it. I'll go through a fire round here. So some guy who's like, yeah, I never know what to say to girls. I'll fire off like really quickly 10 things I could talk about. So number one, bilingual model. I would send a voice message in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. I'd be like, "Oi, tudo bem? Prazer te conhecer." Well, that. And I would switch it into English and then switch it into Spanish. I would like literally send a message in like three languages, knowing that she would also understand the Portuguese
I
because
probably would save that for like the third or fourth message. I feel like off like because I'm just thinking like from my perspective, like obviously I don't get hit up as much as a hot girl, but I do get a lot of dudes sliding in deep my DMs. And if they ever send me a voice memo, I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking listen, okay? Like you need to pique my interest before I'm gonna listen to like a voice memo. So that would be potentially my concern with I think what you're saying is a good idea. I would just probably do that a little bit further down.
so we're gonna talk about some things. And there's shout out to is it you pronounce it Nitin, right? Nitin, Indian PE.
Yeah, Indian P, yeah.
Yeah. He has a more style like mine, and Alex did a video about this.
He's
Like,
somewhere in between you two, like
okay, yeah,
in between me and you. Yeah, we're
because
like
this
sort
is
of
yeah.
extremes, and he's like in the middle. Sorry, what were you
I'll
saying?
I'll make a quick point that who gets laid? Strong silent type, loud, outgoing, more charismatic, and guy in the room. Cool, super chilled out, super relaxed surfer dudes. They all get laid, but it's like different styles. So we'll come back to that. Let me. I'll just fire off my fire round of like
Wait,
openers
can,
real
can I
quick
just
here.
add on that real quick?
Sure, yeah, go for
Before
it.
I forget, I do think that I don't think there's like the one ideal style. I think that your style could easily be just as effective as my style, maybe even more effective, right? I don't know, but I do know that you're doing well from what you've showed me. So yeah, it seems like there's multiple styles that work. So I don't think the goal should ever be to just copy someone's style. If it's not congruent with you, then that wouldn't make any sense. But there's some underlying principles that you could still learn from someone like me and you. Like there's still a lot of things like underlying principles that you and I completely will agree on, even though our style manifests differently. Most of the underlying principles we will agree on. We'll
Of
agree on
course.
persistence, not being needy, not coming on too strong. So yeah, I think that like there's that yeah, you should adjust your style based on your
Hmm.
personality. Because if I did your style, it would just be pretty incongruent to me, and probably vice versa.
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's like MMA. Like, there's always styles in fighting, everything. So, I want to real quick. I'll let you take over these next two, and then we'll just kind of get into a general, text game masterclass. We can talk about some of the biggest mistakes. But again, I just want to fire these off quickly, and then Alex, afterwards, if you want to, add on here, you can. This is actually kind of a I'm kind of cheating here. This is an extremely easy profile to make conversation on. So I'll just fire off a bunch of them real quickly. I could talk about that she's bilingual and either just, comment on that or, send my voice message. Like I said, I could say, oh, damn, bronze skin Columbia, you're the owner. Damn, that's cool. We're both entrepreneurs. We could build an empire together like Beyonce and Jay-Z. That's actually probably too much. I could just be like, hey, well, anyway, I'll just fire these off. Lawyer could say, yeah, I love smart and ambitious girls. That's really cool. You're a lawyer. Um, she likes travel. She traveled to China. She has this viajes. Viajes means travels. So presumably she's traveled a lot. I could say, damn, that's cool. You like to travel. I've been to 25 countries and counting. I wonder which one of us has more stamps in their passport. Libros, that means books. So I could say, oh shit, I finally found a girl who reads more than just the captions on TikTok. Nice. Um,
I would say I finally found a girl who's literate. I would even exaggerate it a little bit.
well, you live in Miami, so yeah. And then on the modeling, yeah, I could just again, I'm a big fan of repeating like, hey, that's cool that you're in the gym a lot. I love girls that take care of themselves. Could never date a lazy girl who doesn't go to the gym.
Mm.
Again, so we just said, yeah, here's her at the bookstore. Be like, oh damn, I like a. This would be really funny because I know this girl lives in Medellin. I could say, oh, finally a girl posting pictures from the bookstore instead of her webcam studio, and she would laugh because I mean, you saw what my feed looked like, on. we have a lot of girls that.
It looks very similar to my feed.
So okay, why don't you take a stab at this one if you want? This one might be a little bit harder. I know I,
Ooh,
I took an
I
easy
like I
one.
like this chick. She's got some big old titties. All right, I love it.
Yeah.
This is definitely much more my type. All right, let's take a look at her stories because it's going to be based on that.
Oh yeah,
If I'm
that's right. You're a stories guy.
Well, I actually do agree with what you said about how the value of just a standard like copy and paste opener. But we're assuming for this experiment that we're trying to really reply to her or to build it based on something she said. So quite often I will send like a copy and paste opener, but they're a bit less effective than something that's custom made. But yes, keep going.
Yeah, so this is some like beauty place that's opening. I don't know if she's the owner or not. Oh, so proud of my model. So I guess she has. I guess no. So she's the model. So Leslie is the model, and presumably, let's assume it's her. It's her little beauty thing that's opening.
I might make a joke. I might say like, "Oh, looks like we're going to be modeling together," or like,
Nice.
"Oh, cool. Uh, they wanted me to model too," or something like that. It's
Yeah.
not the best, but
But like
yes.
oh so you took the Eritrea or Eritrea. I think that's a country in Africa, right? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but
I
whatever.
don't know.
You could type it.
I don't think it is.
I think it is, dude. Eritrea.
You think you're thinking of Ethiopia, maybe? I've never heard that.
Yeah, Eritrea, but it's spelled differently.
Oh shit, man, I'm wrong. Yeah,
Eritrea,
fuck.
but no, but there is, but that's one's, but this one is spelled differently. Um, Eteria. I'm dyslexic. Eteria, whatever. But we tangent. No, it wasn't referring to the country in Africa, but Eteria Beauty. I could say, oh, so you took that job, huh? I turned that one down. Funny,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good. Yeah, yeah.
playful.
What's the?
Uh,
Oh,
Night
okay.
Run. Oh shit, yeah. So it just said Night Run again. And for the viewer at home, I know you're watching this. It's not as smooth for you, but it's just her and her workout.
The thing is I probably, as tempting as it is, you don't want to make the mistake of replying to this story because that's what every guy's replying to, and that's kind of this is a thirst trap, and you want to
Uh,
avoid replying to thirst traps and focus on the things that guys don't commonly respond to. So I'll probably reply to her first story, and then if not, if I was to do her posts, let's see what else
is that a
there's
lot
here.
to go on here?
Um,
It's just like straight up modeling
I
photos.
could make like this is a fairly standard statement, but I like your majestic poses
Yeah, like
because it's
majestic
kind of
photos.
like girls are like, wait, is he making fun of me or is that a compliment? Like, it's a good example of how to do a neck
Yeah.
properly.
For this one, this is, and that's speaking on like repeating and stuff. There's another common line that I use over again. I could say, I forget exactly how it goes, but I could say, they say beauty is pain, but I guess it's worth it to stare directly into the sun. The photo came out great.
Mm, probably wouldn't be my cup of tea, but yeah, I see the premise. Yeah, is this girl live in Medellin or is she in?
No, I think this is just some random fashion. I don't really follow like too many like
This
random
chick
thoughts
is
that I don't
hot
know.
as fuck. Oh,
Yeah,
she's
no,
got 214,000
yeah,
followers.
she's like some fashion Nova model.
Odds are really really small.
Yeah. All right. Let's just let's cut it out here. I guess. I mean, yeah, this one talk about travel. She's been to a lot of places. That's probably what I would do. Yeah, that's pretty. I would steal the Alex one. I love your selfie collection. That's a classic Alex
Yeah, yeah, that's a
opener
good
that I'm
one here.
stealing from her. Um, what else could we do?
I might say, do you come with a parrot?
Yeah, did you come with a ferret?
Well, that would be better if that was a story, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. So anyway, we're just trying to give you guys, idea again, and at least for me, I can do. I sometimes will do openers. Well, actually, I sometimes will do openers based off of like the content I find, but I usually do generic curiosity based openers and then just quickly transition to talking about their content because it's something that they're going to want to talk about their business. They're going to want to talk about the fact they're bilingual. They're going to want to talk about their interesting tattoo. They're going to want to talk about travel or the gym, the things that they like. So it's natural for them to get to want to open up on that. And then two, you're building a rapport with commonality and getting to know them in an easy way by talking about something that they presumably are comfortable with and like to talk about. Would you agree?
Yeah, with the underlying logic for sure. With Instagram cold DMs, it's a bit different than Tinder, but with like I always say on Tinder, don't really worry so much about building comfort. Just focus on building attraction, moving things forward. On Instagram, you do have to build comfort because you're just a random person sliding in her DMs. Like she did not like with Tinder, you have like kind of a, I guess, an unspoken social agreement that she swiped on you, you swiped on her. You guys are going to take the time to get to know each other. It's kind of an unspoken, a little like mini agreement that not every girl, you know, will stick by, but that's kind of it. With Instagram, there's nothing. You're just literally a random guy. Like she has no idea who you are. So I think in that case, much more comfort is necessary.
Yeah, and what I do, and let me know your thoughts on this too, and then I want to get into some questions. But um, what I do on Instagram, I call it the tap tap method, and basically it means like this: you find a girl. Actually, if it's my case, your virtual assistant, who someone who's logged into your Instagram finds a hot girl based on your preferences for you, and what they do or what I do is you like maybe the most recent three photos. So it says, Casey Redbeard has liked your photo. Casey Redbeard has liked your photo. Casey Redbeard has liked your photo. Then you follow them. So she gets four notifications, and why do I do four? Doesn't that seem thirsty? I know, Alex, you're probably like chomping at the bit to say that. Just hold on for 1 sec. I know you're probably like dying to get in. Maybe you think that's thirsty, but I
No,
yeah, the top. Okay, cool. The three or four of their photos. She gets like three or four notifications that this guy has liked your photos. Then I follow them, and this is all tracked in a spreadsheet. I get really really nerdy on this. It's all tracked in a Google sheet. The VA then goes back and unfollows the girls that didn't follow me back. But the goal is that the girl follows you, and if you have a really high status profile with charming video content. I want to get your thoughts on the charming video content stuff that I'll show you in a second. But anyway, if you have a really really well put together profile, at least if you're in Brazil, which I admittedly is an easier dating market, about out of 20 girls that my VA follows a day, 7 to 8 follow back, and then I only we'll do like a Hail Mary DM to the girls that didn't follow me back, but we generally focus more on the girls that did follow me back. Number one, because now it's kind of like a match. It's almost like a Tinder match. There is that premise. That's the word you were looking for. It's like there's this premise like, hey, I matched with you, you matched with me, or I liked your photos and followed you. You liked my photos and followed me back. It's basically like a match, almost like it was a dating app on that point. And I get a lot of the Instagram profiles from dating apps to begin with. And then also once they follow me, I go directly to their inbox. There's no hidden request folder of doom. She will get a push notification. What do you think about that strategy?
I agree with everything you said. Yeah, I do. I do the same thing. When I'm trying to bang girls off Instagram, yeah, I'll follow them. I'll see if they follow me back because it makes it a lot warmer. And yeah, for me, I'll typically like one or two of the photos, but there's not a big difference between one or two or three. I think three is fine. If you go all the way back to her
Yeah, no,
like old photos and like those, then yeah, that seems a little thirsty. But if you like yeah, like two or three of the more recent ones, I think the one caveat I would say is avoid liking the ones that are the most sexual. Focus on liking the ones that most guys are not liking, not the outwardly sexual ones, but the ones that are more unique.
agreed,
This way, you
agreed.
don't
Yeah.
seem like just like a dude who's just thirsty. I think that's actually a very important caveat. But assuming you do that, there's no issue with two or three.
And you're doing this manually these days, not using my services. I know I actually was finding Alex some girls. I was Alex's online dating virtual assistant for a short time, and I know I got him laid at least once.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you did. I actually ran into that girl. I have a whole video. I don't know if you saw. It's a short actually of the conversation I had with that girl because I didn't recognize her. I just did not recognize her, and she was like, "Do
a
you
girl
have
you
no?"
banged, you didn't recognize.
I didn't recognize her, bro. It's just yeah. I
Oh
have
yeah.
such a big brain, but there's only so much capacity. Uh, no. In all truth, in all honesty, I'm pretty bad with faces. But yeah, so it was a funny conversation. We just kind of joked around about the whole thing. Her friend fucking hated me. Her friend was like trying so hard to get her away. It's a funny short. You should check it out.
Yeah, yeah,
But,
definitely send me that short. Alex runs
but
into
yeah, yeah. No, you did definitely get me laid. Like nowadays though, for the last like 6 to 9 months, I haven't even been on dating apps. I've just been so focused on the business and just like I don't even have time honestly anymore to go on
bro. It
dates.
gets like that. Maybe we will talk about that later. I don't go on nearly as many dates as I should, or guys, think I do. But anyway, also I'm getting really really picky. I'm like
Mhm.
36 now. I want to get what you have, which is like a long term girl. But we'll talk about that later. Let's yeah. So I have a question for you, buddy.
Mhm.
Why do men struggle with dating?
That's a very broad question. Um, Okay, I'm gonna try to simplify this as much as possible. I think that there's two very general reasons that why men struggle with dating. Number one is they're simply not shooting their shot. Whether that means they're not cold approaching girls, they're not fucking around with dating apps seriously, or some combination of those. And the other one is that they're following incorrect advice, or most of the time they're not following any advice. They're just doing what they think is right, or one of their friends told them, and the vast majority of the time it's bad advice. Kind of referencing what we were talking about earlier when I created the profile as a girl, I would say over 90% of profiles, just the photos sucked. Like it's such a small list of guys who actually have like solid photos, and that's actually should be something that is a positive thing for anyone watching this, because if you just, yes, we know that Tinder is a little bit more stacked with men. I think the ratio in the US is 65-35. In Europe, it's about 50-50. In India, it's 91-9. So don't go to India. But
90,
yeah,
seriously?
or maybe even 93-7. Yeah, it's so bad.
Jesus. So it's all
Uh,
guys on Tinder in India.
yeah.
Doesn't
But
doesn't
if,
surprise me, to be honest.
yeah,
Yeah.
65-35 may seem bad, but if 9 out of 10 of those guys have horrible photos, well, then actually you're still in the minority of guys who have success, who are going to be successful. So, yeah, I think again, like it's not just photos, but like everything else. But yeah, a lot of guys are just following either incorrect information, or just trying to freestyle themselves and just not doing the correct thing, or they are not trying, or some combination of those. Maybe they tried following the correct information, it didn't work, so then they
What
gave up.
what would be an example of any, because you're a coach, right? So what's like people have told you the past, anything come up over and over again, or that you've seen through whatever that is a very common mistake or bad advice that guys receive that they're following?
I would say most guys. So when it comes to like Tinder photos, there are the guys who just have like really shitty photos, and they're stubborn. They've never done a professional photo shoot, and they're just like put it off. And then I have to like kind of convince them that it's important. They should do that. Um, that's
Can I
one
can I
category.
interrupt for 1 second? Yeah, that thing about stubborn too is like they're yeah, point blank period, they're stubborn. Again, it is an awkward thing. As guys, we're not really taught to focus on vanity and think about the way that, should I pose this way or what's my better angle? And then also there's a lack of belief, and that comes in the stubbornness. They don't like of course you use though the website photofeeler.com. For guys
It
who don't
sucks.
know,
I
it
don't
sucks.
recommend people use it. Yeah, I mean it's better than nothing, but it's not accurate.
So, well, let me say here, I agree and disagree. I think it's a very good generality, right? Like it's a good, like it'll point you in the right direction. Like if you're looking for north, it won't point you south. It may point you like northwest, like more west than north, but it's not going to point you straight south. If a photo ranks badly, it's going to do poorly. If a photo ranks amazingly, it's at worst a decent photo. I
Like
would say.
like any fuckboy photos will bomb on photo feeler, but they may actually be really good.
Correct. Yeah, this is the type of thing where, women not following their own advice, right? Like you ask them what they want and they say one thing, but they respond to another thing. Like, oh, all my ex-boyfriends were assholes. I hate assholes. Well, all you do is date assholes, right? Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
and then there's like a lack of belief of just like, you know, if you just tested 10 photos, one really good photo, one really good set of photos could change your life. Would you agree? Like you get that one right, physique shot or that one right portrait shot, you just came out, better looking, you're testing, and then all of a sudden you think you have a profile that was shadow banned or just quote unquote like it doesn't work, and then all of a sudden like, oh shit, like there's notifications, there's matches, there's girls in my inbox now. Have you ever
Yeah.
experienced that, or you seen that with your
Yeah, for
clients?
sure. I've had countless clients who would say, like, dude, Tinder doesn't work for insert whatever they are, Indians, bald guys, skinny guys, whatever. It doesn't work. It's not going to work, but you're my last hope. And then they go from that within a few weeks to, dude, Tinder's fucking awesome. I love Tinder.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that. I've seen that so many times. But the second thing I was going to say is their photos are too posed. So, like, I think another sad thing is that the majority of professional photographers don't know what they're doing when it comes to dating for Tinder photos. And I've seen this time and time again, where they do a professional photo shoot, but the guy takes very, very post photos because they don't have any experience with dating app photos. and then the results are still shit. So
Yeah, I
I
want
would
to I
be
want to show something on that aspect here. So this is what happens when you go out with a photographer that really knows exactly what he's doing and knows how to pose you in a way that doesn't in any way look gay or overly posed. Is yeah, if you're really lucky, you can come out like this right here. This is
scroll up.
this
Which
is
one are you
the top tier of what you could hope to
Wait,
achieve.
you're trolling, right?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, just making
Yeah,
sure.
this is a guy. I won't say his name, but this is some guy. I won't even say the city, but anyway, just some guy went out with way back in the day. I was probably like 26 in this photo or something like that. 27, I don't know. Actually, I have more hair now after the hair transplant than I do here. Funny, terrible, fucked up hairline. A lot skinnier than I am now. But yeah, this is what exactly what Alex is talking about. What you don't
Yeah,
want, and yeah,
exactly.
attractive 4.6, and yeah, and then so what do you have any like go-to photos, or do you have any like philosophy on like a formula maybe that makes a good photo, or what would you do to
Sure. I
steer
still
guys?
think you need a photographer who knows what they're doing, because just knowing the stuff yourself is maybe one third of the battle. But that being said, yeah, for sure. So one of the things is you want motion, and the good photographers know this. So meaning like, let's say we're doing a shot on I don't know. Let's say we're doing like a shot of me just having a drink. You don't want to like stand there like this and like, okay, is the photo good? You want motion. So what like I'm not a photographer, but I'll take photos for my friends. Just people I like to try to help them. I'm pretty good at it. And what I'll do is like be like, okay, look at me. All right, now think about your mom getting fucked by a black guy. Like I'll try to cause them various emotions. Think about that one time you wet your bed. I'll want to try to get them into a lighthearted mood where they're laughing, where they're moving. Look up, look down, look at your drink like it's the last drink you'll ever have. Like I don't know, I'll just try to like keep them from being static. I'll try to keep them moving, and that goes a long way. And then you just want to take photos. A good photographer will take 4,000, 5,000 photos in the span of a few hours, and then we'll nail that down to 5 or 6, right? So you want a massive volume. Another thing is I think that you want to try to, as the person whose photos are being taken, is to try to like let loose as much as possible, and like it's cool if you vibe with the photographer because you can just joke around and shit like that. So when I do photos for people who are my friends, obviously we already vibe, but I'll like joke around with them and I'll like just try to keep them in a very lighthearted mood, because that's also something that goes a long way. So just kind of being able to joke around, and if you don't vibe with the photographer, you can have one of your buddies there and just joke around with him, but kind of staying in that mood is going to be good. Like you, unless you're a professional actor, you're not going to be able to fake being relaxed and happy, right? Um, I think also there's general body language principles, which I've talked about in videos, but you want to generally take up space.
Yeah,
You want to lean back. You don't want to be leaning forward. You don't want to be scrunched over. You don't have to overdo it, but you want to be taking up space. You want activity shots. So, like David, like my roommate and photographer, he'll do a motorcycle shot. He'll do a guitar shot. He'll do
maybe
uh,
surfing, jet skiing,
yeah.
at
There's
the
none of those
gym.
specifically, but yeah, there's a bunch. So I've taught him like to really just focus on activity shots, and that's what you want.
Yeah, I agree to a lot of that stuff. Well, there's some things I wanted to comment on. Yeah, you talked about taking a shitload of photos per shoot. You talked about doing something. One thing that I say, if I was gonna, because a lot of my guys, they're like, I don't want to pay a professional photographer, or they don't want to. They just want to have a friend do it for various reasons. Even if they get maybe some done by a photographer, say, okay, cool. Here's like an 80-20 principle. So you guys listen up. Here's like some 80-20 principles if you're just, having going out with like a buddy who may not be a trained photographer. Number one is tell him before he takes the photos to count to three. 1, 2, 3, snap. 1, 2, 3, snap. So you're not, because if he's just holding the camera, just snapping photos, you might just be kind of frozen, like this. But if he's counting 1, 2, you can kind of like try to make him laugh. Like if I don't know, again, if it's an Indian client, just say some random, racist shit to make him laugh. Like think of like the smell
You
of
mother chode. Yeah, that
yeah,
works. Indian people
yeah,
love it when you curse to them in
yeah.
Hindi.
Just yeah, think of yeah. the smell of chickpeas in the morning, like mom used to
You
make, or
bunch.
yeah, think of like those Thai nipples that look like earplugs almost, that are like almost like little erect penises. Just like what? Just like try to get them like laugh, but at the count of three, so you can like one, two, and then when you know through stomach, kind of make yourself laugh, so it comes at the count of three. You can be buttoning up your shirt, so it's like one. You're kind of like he said in motion. You're kind of
I
buttoning
would
up your
avoid the
shirt.
buttoning up the shirt because that
You
comes
think it's
off like a
too
yeah.
too cliche, or
I've tried to teach David not to do that. Yeah, I mean, like, fuck, if you're gonna have your friend, this sounds very self-serving, but I have a video called "How to Do a Photo Shoot at Home," where I try to guide people like how to actually replicate what a professional photographer does. It's not gonna be
we'll
not
link that in the description again. It's how to do. What does it say? We'll link it in the description. It's
how
how
to
you
do
basically
yeah, how to do a photo shoot
photo
at
shoot at
home.
home. Okay.
We're actually like, so I'm taking the photos, and there's someone else videotaping me taking the photos. So I try to guide people. It's like a 30-minute video. It goes pretty detailed. But yeah, like getting a professional photographer who knows what they're doing is going to be by far the best thing. But if you're really tight on money, if you show one of your friends that video, also it's like a real big game of like luck, because some people will get it. I think if you can get a girl to take the photos after watching my video, that'll probably be better than a guy, unless it's a guy who's like really good with girls.
Okay. What do you think of? I'm going to share my screen again. What do you think of this guy's profile here? Would you say? I mean, he can use these on apps as well. I'll scroll through them slowly because I know my screen recording always goes slower. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to
This
slowly
okay.
go through. So that's he's seen two.
So go back. Let's start off with the first photo, just the first one in his Instagram. Yep. So one cheat code is if you're taking your Instagram photos, look how many likes they got, and the ones with the most likes will probably be the best.
All
So this
right.
photo is not bad. It's a bit posed, so it wouldn't be ideal, but it's not bad. It's like a when it comes to Tinder, this is like a 6-ish, maybe even 7 out of 10. So it's not a bad photo, but it's a little posed the way he's standing, so it's not ideal.
What do you think
Let's go.
about this one?
Um, Good because he's leading, but he looks like he's like screaming at everyone. So he would have to use Face App to change his facial expression because he looks like he's just fucking yelling at everyone for coming in late.
All right. I'll just kind of go through the bulk of
The
them. I
social
mean,
proof one is pretty good. Like scroll up for a second.
this
Yeah,
one.
that one. Yeah, yeah. That no, the one to the right of that.
Okay, so you approve of this one?
Well, actually, the downside is it's like the same amount of girls and guys. The good thing about it is he's the tallest one there. Um, this could work, but he needs to say in his bio, "P.S. Those girls are just friends," or
Mhm.
something.
Good times with good friends. Caption.
Yeah, you can't really do captions for a thing for Tinder, but for Hinge you can.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'll just, is there any one that you want to enlarge or look at?
Um, let's do the. Let's see. The click on the one bottom left, the one where he's with that group of people. Mm, he's a little posed, but like photos like this are solid. Like a lot of people fuck up social proof photos, but you want essentially um, like a comfortable setting, like not a club, but like where there's maybe one or two other cool looking guys and there's a lot of hot girls. And he accomplishes that in this photo. Everyone looks like they're happy to be there, but I don't like the way he's holding his hands on the suit. But other than that, I think it's a decent photo.
All right. And okay, I'll just show one more. Maybe, yeah, two posed again.
A bit too
or,
posed, yeah. I can
okay.
tell he lives in Medellin by the background, but yeah.
Well, here's a shocker. I built this guy's profile. I put it all together.
It's not bad for sure. I think he just needs more. There's only like what, like 12 photos here?
Yeah, yeah. He only posted 12. I do have more of them, but he only posted 12. What would you without giving the friend answer, what would you rate this at? Like, if you were to pick, six of these for Tinder, six of your favorites, or just as an Instagram profile,
Yeah, let me
what
just
would you
preface
rate
what
it?
I'm saying is I was under the assumption this is for Tinder. So a lot of these photos, which I said might not work for Tinder, will totally work for Instagram. So all these photos are fine with for Instagram. or at least the vast majority of them, but they might not work for Tinder. If I had to pick six, that would be a tough choice. I would definitely use the wait, slow down for a second. I would definitely use top left here because we don't have better options. I would probably use one. I would probably use the one below that, the one where he's giving a speech. I would modify his face with FaceApp. I would use one social proof photo. Maybe the top right or the center one. Click on the center one.
I had him positioned away from the girl. You notice in every photo he's never directly next to the girls, and I had him put his arm around a girl to kind of get the social proof without doing it the wrong way. But yeah,
Yeah,
there's
I probably would not use that one for Tinder, but the one top right could work. Exit out of that. Yeah,
yeah,
as
yeah,
long as he puts in his bio, because in this one he looks like he's the alpha of the group, and the other one, the other guy looks like he's the alpha. Uh, like his body language is so much more confident than his friends, so that's good. Yeah, as long as he clarifies that they're not his, one of them is not his girlfriend, then he should be good with
yeah.
that one. Okay, exit out of that. So scroll down a little bit. Um, the phone one, maybe, yeah. Let's click on that. Ah, no, I don't like it. Exit out of that. Maybe like this, the bottom, the very bottom photo.
Yeah, this one though, sitting down. Yeah, so he's fairly easy dating market, Cali, Colombia, but he's even going on dates in Canada. He's been crushing it with this profile though. And if you saw his
Okay.
before photos, I mean, if you want to just hold on a second. Want
Oh, I totally believe you that he's doing a lot better now.
to let me see here if I have the link to his crappy photos. Oh,
But
I
he's
won't open
meeting
it.
girls from Instagram, not Tinder, right?
Yeah, he's doing Instagram ads. So one thing I wanted to say, and this is a quick thing, and maybe you can agree to this or not. I have a bunch of photos here. Maybe I'll enlarge.
Wait, my fucking roommate and best friend is in there. David
Oh
is in
yeah,
here.
David. So this is Nitin. So what I've done over the years is save an archive of any time. I don't do it so much anymore, but I was trying to like gain like a pattern because I ran so many photos through Photo Feeler, which again I know you don't love Photo Feeler. Again, that's the site that where real women rank your photos, and I know you don't love Photo Feeler, but I would kind of go on that as a baseline, and then I quickly learned, what was a good photo. I rated a bunch of these, and I was trying to get crack like the code, and I noticed these four things that generally there's a lot of things. They're like how comfortable you are, your body language. A lot of that can be fixed, which I'll show in a second through FaceApp and stuff. But I call these the core four. I'll just like I don't know. We'll enlarge this one for why not? It's lighting, fashion, grooming, location. Again, there's other things like maybe some motion, like you said, or whatever. But the
I
lighting
think
is
there's
obviously
one
key.
more thing that needs to be added, and that's how natural you look in the photo.
Yeah,
That's got
but
to
here
be part.
the only reason I didn't say that, I'll tell you why. Well, I'll tell you why right now. This is a terrible expression. He looks cold. He looks unfriendly. He looks tired. He does not look like a warm, approachable guy. And this is the magic of FaceApp. Brightened his skin, brightened his eyes, added that smirky smile. Would you agree that this is like a great, warm, friendly expression?
I think that sort of. I don't think the goal that should be the primary goal. The primary goal is to attract girls and get matches. I do agree with you that there's a big difference, and this is a massive improvement. That's the power of FaceApp. But this photo never looked superposed. It looked sort of posed. Uh,
I'm not talking
not
about pose. I'm talking about. Well, let me jump back to this one.
uh,
Let me finish my point. Lighting,
Sorry.
fashion, grooming, location. Lighting is obvious. There should be lighting coming onto you, lighting facing you. Sunlight is good, but just not a lot of light behind you or on top of you, but light
Uh,
forward facing on you.
uh,
Fashion, which for most of you guys, like clothing that fits too tight. What you think is like too tight probably fits you well, and it's like professional clothing, whatever. Grooming is kind of easy, just no neck hairs, no funky eyebrows, not haircut, whatever. And then the toughest one, and I think this is like a hack, and this is why the value of guys paying for photo shoots and stuff is if it's taken in a luxurious location. Like Would you agree that this is a good Instagram photo, or perhaps Tinder photo, or no? Let's actually start there.
Instagram potentially, Tinder no.
So it would be a horrible main picture because you can't see his face, but I would think that when respond to this, it's too far away, it's blurry. He's not necessarily dressed the best, but the only reason why I think women would respond to that is the fucking location. It's kind of like everybody who's ever went down the rabbit hole of this knows that if you take a photo with a pet or an animal, a dog, shout out to what's his name, Rhaegar, right? Is that his name?
That's
Um,
my dog's name. Yeah.
like this guy here, the cuteness of the animal projects onto you. She goes, "Oh, look at the cute dog, look at the cute puppy," and she's like, "Oh my god, cuteness, cuteness, cuteness." And like I said, she projects that cuteness onto you. Everybody since the dawn of time who's been obsessive and nerdy over this online dating stuff, if you've ever gone down the rabbit hole and obsessed over it, you know that. But one thing I think that guys haven't realized yet, maybe they can realize it now, is the same way that the cuteness of a puppy can project cuteness onto you. The location being a luxurious location can project status onto you. What do you think?
It depends on the type of girl. For the more, I don't, for gold diggers, of course, but like it goes broader than that. For more status oriented girls, I don't know, in Miami, maybe that's like 20, 25% of women. Yeah, it will play a role. I think for the majority of women, no matter where you are, it's not going to be a substantial game changer by any stretch. Um, I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, because to
I don't,
me,
for a certain type of girl, for sure, it will make a big difference. I'll just grant that.
because well, I had let me open this thing up here. Let me know your thoughts on this. And again, this isn't like the most fair comparison, but I want to get your thoughts on this. This is something that I talk about. It's called I guess you would call it, oh, here's Steven's crappy photo. So again, I know you weren't in love with Steven's photos. Maybe you thought they were that profile, and overall job was like a 7.5 out of 10, judging by what you said. um
I thought it was pretty good for Instagram. I just
okay,
thought he would need more photos of him doing activities for Tinder.
gotcha. But a little bit better than this,
Yeah,
slightly
of course.
maybe.
Yeah. This looks like
uh
it was taken on like a 2001 Nokia fucking phone.
These are the results that Steven got, by the way. So the thing that I wanted to talk about though is with food you call it, well, with food you call it presentation, right? So I'm going to make the analogy with food and then with people. So this is chicken parm. So I promise you, when these hit your taste buds, that they taste exactly the same. This is, I don't want to get too off on a tangent, but these like five
Really?
star Oh, dude, these like 5-star Michelin restaurants that you eat at, they don't even taste good. You're hypnotized by the
Wait,
ambiance, the
really?
exclusivity. Dude, this is fucking chicken parmesan, bro. Again, okay, put it this way. If I took this photo, if it didn't have the parsley flakes on top, which you don't even taste the parsley, it's just there for color. I turned down the contrast of the photo and gave it shitty lighting. Like, I obviously these are two different dishes, but just like humor me and pretend that this is like the exact same, like the same chef cooked it side by side. When they hit your taste buds, it is exactly the same to your taste buds. This one just has higher contrast, more colorful, more colors in total. It has the green, the parsley flakes, it has a little bit of garlic bread, it's brighter. It's just a better overall presentation. Now, we look at this, it's kind of like the same thing. Would you agree? It's like two guys sitting in a chair, but one is just presented better, better clothing, better
These are
lighting.
different guys, right? Just to
They're also
clarify.
different guys too.
Ye- Well, no, I think that there's other things to this. It's not so much the background. I think that like this guy's massively fucking sunburned. He's wearing sunglasses so we can't see his eyes. The style is a lot worse. He's wearing clothes that are way too baggy. His
That's part
body,
of the presentation, right? It's
yeah,
the
his
color
body language is
grading, the
pretty poor.
blurriness. Yeah.
I
But
mean,
like,
look, I'm not denying the fact that having cool background helps. So, yeah, I'm sure it does. The question is to what extent.
yeah. Again, same thing here, right? Basic bitches, basic restaurant,
This one
basic.
hits more on the social proof factor, though. It's like, oh wow, he's looking like he's like it's never a good look if the girls you're surrounded with are less attractive than the girl who's potentially going to swipe on you.
Yeah,
And in this photo, in the left one, the girl will be like, "Oh wow, this guy's fucking surrounded by hot girls." So
that's my point. It's the
yeah.
same thing. And this one, the chicken parm is more colorful. It's got parsley on it. It's got garlic bread on it. It's got more tomato sauce on it that isn't all covered up by the cheese. And in this one, again, he's just my point being, again, I know this guy's a lot older. I couldn't get the one to one, comparison,
I don't know
unfortunately.
if I would equate those. I feel like they're different for several reasons. But okay, yeah, sorry, keep going.
But yeah, but those are the several reasons I'm talking about. Like, okay, at the core of it, you're looking at two guys that are at a dinner table. Like, what is going on? It's a mixed group of guys and girls eating dinner, and the subject is like the forefront of the photo.
Right, but the reason that the photo on the left will be much more effective, well, two reasons.
It's the presentation.
Sure, we can put that, but I really would call it social proof. The social proof is very strong in the one on the left. The social proof is negative in the one to the right. Like these just look like this looks like the fucking knitting club or bowling club after they finish like fucking knitting and now they're getting together and they're
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
nerded
yeah.
out. Like no girl is going to be looking at this and be like, "Damn, this guy pulls." Like she's going to feel like subconsciously she's gonna be like, he's probably never been with a girl as hot as me.
Yeah,
He's probably lower value
yeah,
than me. Versus the
yeah.
exact opposite effect plays out for the
Yeah.
one on the left.
But look, aside from just being less attractive girls, it's less attractive everything. It's less attractive clothing. It's less attractive guy friends. It's less attractive venue. It's less attractive lighting. It's less attractive fashion. It's everything. I think if you just replace these with hot girls, it would still have what I said: the less attractive fashion, the less attractive lighting, the less attractive venue. So this is just like kind of a point. But good, we're having a little bit of, I like how we're agreeing on some things, but not not everything here. Is there anything else you wanted to add on the subject of, like, photos and photography before we maybe move on to another question here?
No, I mean unless you have any questions, but those are my
No,
general thoughts on the things you
no.
mentioned.
Okay. If you had to teach, like, I don't know, maybe we'll just improv a little bit, just a quick text game masterclass. Actually, shout out to your app. Are you still doing your app, by the way? Why don't you
Yeah, yeah,
shout
yeah.
that out? What's the name of
It's
it
going
again?
strong. It's called FireText.
FireText. Yeah, I've used it. It'll be in the, maybe you can promote it more at the end. We can talk about it. But yeah, FireText. And basically, the premise is when you get stuck and you're like, oh, fuck, I don't know what to text this bitch, it'll help you based on where you're at in the conversation, come up with like a witty, cool reply that moves the conversation in the right direction. And it's based on many, many thousands inputs of data of successful conversations that he's had and his students have had. So it's trained really,
It's
really
all
well.
based on me. We
Oh, it's
all
all on
based.
you. All on
On,
you.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah,
It's
if you were to
AI
teach like
version of
a quick, because I know you're the wizard at tech. We talked a little bit about photos and composition, and we talked about how the guy has to be comfortable, activities, doing in motion. I talked about my stuff, but let's talk about the next step. So now a guy has a match. A lot of guys get matches or they meet a girl through anything, friends, cold approach, doesn't matter, and they just completely fall apart in the texting. If you were to give a quick masterclass, I'll let you cook for a minute. What would that look like? Your Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did a video that's called the I think it was like the fundamentals of text game because it can be complex and there's a lot of extra stuff that's good that you can do, but that's not necessary. So the fundamentals in the texting conversation are this. There's five. Number one, the opener. You want to have a good opener, and we can talk about more if you want to. Number two is going to be building attraction or building investment. I think is a better way of phrasing it. So getting the girl to invest in the conversation. Number three is going to be optimally closing. So that means like you're not just going to be like, "Hey, you free tomorrow night?" You're going to say, "We should grab a drink sometime soon." She'll say, "Sounds good." You're going to say, "What's your schedule like?" And that type of way. Number four is going to be actually, sorry, just four. Number four. Okay, yeah, it is five. Four is going to be confirming. So you want to confirm a day or two beforehand, and also day of the date. And number five is optional in case it pops up, but it quite often will. Dealing with any concerns, objections, or anything last minute or any kind of flaking.
I'm going to repeat that back to you. Openers, getting the girl to invest. Closing, aka making a plan with her, moving it forward from I'm your
Optimally
text buddy.
closing. Yeah.
Yeah, optimally closing. To, yeah, like we're making plans to meet. Confirming, the meetup, I assume. And then if they come up dealing with her objections, why don't you walk us through a little bit more? What would you have any go-to openers or just rules regarding openers in general?
There's two types of openers. There's the copy and paste ones you can use for everybody, or there's the custom ones that you would do if it's Tinder based on her photos. We kind of covered how to do the custom ones, so I'll focus like for the standard ones. I mean, there's a bunch that like I've tested that work well. Hey, Trouble still works well.
Hey,
Um,
trouble, yeah. That's
Still
kind of
works
a
well.
a meme in the pickup community. Yeah, okay.
No, I know. If you're like in Latin America, I would just say Ola Linda. That one seems to work well. But there's a bunch of other ones you can say. Hey, you seem like my type, or you seem like potentially my type. Um, you can say you
Potentially.
can.
So I just want to comment on that. One thing that I teach is having tension in your conversations, and there's a lot of ways to create tension, but one is what he's talking about, which is not being completely won over, being positive, being optimistic, not being a weird, overly pushing her away like a uncalibrated gamey PUA. But what was it again? You look like my type potentially. Again, there's nothing insulting. There's nothing to
Yeah,
get mad
you
about.
look like potentially my type.
Yeah,
I
you
would
look
phrase
like
it.
potentially my type. So he's creating a little bit of tension. He's not being completely over won over. Okay, I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
any other go tos that you
Yeah,
really like for
sure. You can
openers?
say swiped right for and just say something you like about her, like sexy nerd glasses or lovely selfie collection. Or another one that works really well for some reason is like, you can totally steal my most comfiest hoodie. A lot of girls just get a kick out of that. It's like an inside joke
Wow.
amongst girls that they all steal guys' hoodies after hooking up with them.
Yeah,
So girls will get that one.
they
That
love
one
this.
seems, yeah,
Yeah,
when we tested that
girls.
one, it had like an 80% success rate.
That's genius. Yeah, girls have a stronger sense of smell, I think, than guys do, and they like the way their boyfriends smell, so they steal the hoodie.
Mm.
Interesting. Yeah. So my thoughts on openers is I really like curiosity based openers because she's got like hey I think that that smile, that kind of devious smile tells me everything I need to know about you. What does it say about me? Or like, hey, it looks like we have two things in common. One opener I heard is like, hey, I think I saw you the other day. And girls are gonna be like, what? You saw me? And it's just
Yeah.
like it's just
I
to get
I know who came up with that. Never tried that one.
yeah. But anyway, okay, cool. So let's go through them. So what about investing? How do you get the girl to invest over text?
Yeah, so it comes down to two things. Number one, keeping the conversation to something that's relevant or interesting to her. So, for example, if she has a bunch of tattoos, then talking about tattoos will be interesting. If she doesn't have any tattoos, then it will not be interesting. If she, for example, has a pet, then that probably is something that's interesting to her. If she doesn't have a pet, probably not going to be as interesting. Um, and the second thing is um, displaying perceived value. So, like, you can, if you're like a homeless guy, you can go up to a girl and start talking about something that she's really interested in, but she's still probably going to blow you away because she doesn't see the point of engaging in you because you have very low perceived value. The way you would communicate high perceived value, part of that would be through your profile. Part of that would just be not doing anything stupid while you're texting her,
Yep.
not fucking up. Humor also increases your perceived value, not self-deprecating too much, slipping some subtle DHVs in there. I mean, there's many ways to do it, but yeah, those are just some examples.
Well, okay, cool. Yeah. And notice we were talking about how we did this exercise where we were making conversation based on the girl's profile. Those could be openers, and a lot of the lines we were coming up with were openers, but they don't have to be openers. Like if you notice the girl's a lawyer, you don't have to open with that. That could be later in the conversation. Like he said, it just makes for an interesting conversation. She's going to want to brag that she was top of her class in law school and got into this thing. And like it's relevant to her, so it gets her to invest, and it creates chemistry and connection. Okay, great. Let's move on to the next one then in your steps. Closing. How do guys I think you said one of the biggest mistakes guys make is like not getting stuck in conversation land, right? And not moving it forward.
Yeah, I call, what's the term I came up with this? Oh, bantering to no end or whatever. I think I had a better one, but yeah, guys will just text back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and eventually the girl gets bored. I actually really truly kind of internalized that when I had this when I was in Arizona. I hooked up with this pretty hot girl, and at the time I was still like in my learning phase. So I was like, "Hey, can I go through your Tinder profile? not creepy. Just want to see. I'm curious. So like, yeah, sure, whatever. I mean, what do you have to lose? You've already had sex. And so went through her profile, and there was a lot of guys who were much better looking than me. And I was curious. I was like, hey, no homo, but these dudes are much better looking. What made you meet up with me instead of them? And she's like, open the text conversations, and like I would, and they were just bantering. There was never moving things forward. And I saw that time and time and time again. Or the other extreme is that guys move things too forward prematurely. So like second message, they're like, I don't use this app much. Let's meet up for a drink tomorrow. So you want to have a nice balance. You want to build a little investment, that could take one screenshots or two screenshots, maybe
Yeah.
three screenshots. And then optimally closing is the formula for that is actually pretty simple. You first soft close, so you generally suggest the idea of you guys meeting up in a very soft, non-committed way. Then once she agrees to that, you figure out her schedule. After that, you hard close.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I hear that a lot, even in Brazil. I see some Portuguese TikToks guys not moving it forward, and then I also see the opposite. So one thing that I'm really big on, if you guys watch my text game stuff, is it's mandatory I get a girl on a video call. I don't care. First of all, the video call is the first date. I know that I'm not going to waste my time and money. I'm not going to blow a Thursday or Friday or Saturday night on a girl that it turns out to be like a hardcore feminist or just really weird and boring, or we don't get
That's
along.
so interesting. That's gonna be one of the things that we like totally disagree on.
Well, yeah, let me tell you, let me see if I can convert you. Number one is I have had girls where like they basically refuse to do a video call because they're like too shy, and I met up with them anyway. And in a lot of cases, actually regret it. But for the most part, there are some exceptions of girls who won't do a video call but will go on the date. But the vast majority of the time, if they won't, usually it's like the logical step is like they would do the video call. It's like second base, third base, home. Like usually you have to do the video call first. And again, like I said, if they won't even get on a fucking video call, most of the time they're going to flake on the date anyway. Number two is people can be very different texters than they are in person. I know people who are charismatic, guys and girls, charming, that just they're horrible texters. We all know someone who's a terrible texter, but cool in person, or vice versa. And well, that's pretty much why I like video calls. But what I was going to say about there's a proper way to get girls on video calls, and if you just match, you're like, listen, I don't have the time, let's get on a video call right now. But like I run them through a whole framework. I won't get into it now, but I want to hear, why do you not like video calls?
So, question: have you done this in America extensively, or just in like Latin America?
I have not done it extensively in America, no.
Okay, I can totally see it. So then we have to have a little nuance. So I can totally see it being a good idea in Latin America for a variety of reasons. Number one, in Latin America, you're flooded with matches. So you can just, even if you blow off 50% of the potential hot girls, it doesn't matter because you have more than enough. At least that's been my experience when I've been in Latin America. The reason I personally don't like to do, or I don't recommend it in America for anyone except for like chats who are just have way more matches they can handle, is because you can't close on a video call, but you can fuck things up. So all the comfort that you can build on a video call, you could build it in person. In fact, you're going to build it faster in person. So I just see it as something where there's no real upside, but there are potential downsides. And also keep in mind, if you start sexualizing the conversation on a video call, it could go over well. But then now she's like, "Oh shit, I don't want to be a slut." I
Mhm.
forget what the term for that is. The only exception I would give is if you have so many matches that it doesn't matter. In that case, it's fine. But you could also, I think, one really easy thing you could do. You meet up with a girl, you don't like her. You can dip within 5-10 minutes. You don't have to sit there for the whole date. I've done that many, many times when the girl did not look like her photos, or the girl was like super annoying. Like you don't have to
could
like
could
sit
come
there.
up 20 minutes in though after you order the food, right? Like it could, she goes, yeah, so these are my pronouns, and you're like,
Well, first of all, order food. I do not. I refuse to do
uh,
dinner for the first date. So
okay, this is another thing. Okay.
I would just
uh,
fully reject that premise. I either go for a walk or have a drink, and
yeah.
yeah.
So here's the thing. Back when I was your virtual assistant, I run this as a service now for other guys, but I was doing it for Alex as kind of like a proof of concept. I was in Alex's Hinge, I think maybe a couple other apps, and
Mhm.
also his Instagram, pretending to be Alex. I was texting girls, impersonating him, meeting girls, setting up dates. He got on, I think he went on, I don't know, a few dates. You got laid once, and there was a
Uh-huh.
couple really hot ones where I was using my lover boy, romantic. Oh, baby, we have so much in common. And then when I passed it over to him, it was more of like maybe a bit of a, colder, not like
Yeah.
colder, but like just more like business, like, yo, bitch. So when are we meeting up? And then it was all about like, let's
Shoulder,
get
yeah.
drinks like in the afternoon or on like a Tuesday night, or something like that. And the girls were kind of like, bro, I thought you were going to like, steal my heart or something.
Well,
And
that's why the expectations have to be on point. So
yeah,
totally agree.
well, another thing too is this, and this is just, and the girls ended up flaking. So it could be because lover boy game passed off to fuck boy game, was a incongruency there, or whatever. And that could be, and also here's another thing too, and I want to know your thoughts on this. If you're a 5 out of 10 like me who likes to date true verifiable 8.5s and above, like you see, all the social proof that I have on this channel. I'm uploading a vlog with a girl who is a fucking rocket tomorrow or the next day. And you suggest a date idea that isn't something pretty lavish or pretty, it doesn't have to be lavish or expensive. If it's just creative, I don't know, if she loves samba music and there's a free samba's a type of dance, by the way. It's like a
Yeah, I know.
it's like Brazilian salsa. Yeah, so if there's like, you just know she's a samba nut and there's a free samba thing and they're just playing music and it's a Sunday fun day thing and it costs no money to get in, that's like a great fun time. It doesn't necessarily have to be expensive, but just saying, in my experience, in my, I'm not balding that much anymore. The hair's growing, but I'm saying like at least traditionally, a balding ginger with skinny arms. If I don't select a fairly high end venue for the date, I get flaked on. But I guess that's not the case with you.
Um, so first of all, just to clarify, you might be a 5 out of 10, as you say in
Yeah.
America, not in Latin America. Just because you're white, you get extra points. So you probably would be higher than that. The second thing is, I personally, I've never tried like offering lavish dates, but you might be right that the conversion of whatever the amount of girls who flake is a bit less. But I just don't like that whole premise of like fucking like trying to impress the girl. I think creates issues later on. And also, I think that you can the main thing that should draw the girl in should not be the date, it should be you. And I think that you can accomplish more or less the same thing. Like, because for the girl, it's not so much about what you're doing; it's about like how you make her feel. So if you're like, if you're building sexual tension, you're making her laugh, she's having a good time. That's gonna completely um, overshadow the date where you're at. I mean, I've taken girls to some fucking shitty ass fucking dates, man, where the girls like are like, is this the right place? I'm like, yeah, let's go inside. So yeah, I mean, I think the only exception to that would be if those are things you legitimately enjoy doing, which is fine. But I really recommend guys to stick to very simple dates. Either invite her to your place for a bottle of wine, or go for a walk, or meet her somewhere for drinks. And those are the three I would keep it to.
Man, yeah. So I also think it's different too. So this is one thing I want to bring up too. I also think that guys game differently and look for girls differently when they have a girlfriend. So for example, I have a guy in Medellin and he's just
Well,
loving
I've been
me.
doing this before I ever had a girlfriend, just to clarify.
Really? Okay. But you've always been more, put it this way, and I was kind of like you in the sense that I was just like loved to fuck the greatest variety of women possible, always trying to get new girls, always trying to get new notches, and I'm still like that. I'm still a dirty dog, but partially due to age and partially I don't know due to whatever things. I'm a lot more picky, and back when I was saying about my friend in Medellin. 99% of the girls in Medellin are completely brain dead. They're addicted to this pink powder drug called 2C, which is basically ketamine that sometimes
I
mixed
know.
with Molly,
I've done
sometimes
two
not.
CB. Yeah.
It's actually, what's funny, it's TUSI, has nothing, like Vice and everyone on the internet's wrong. 2CB has zero to do with TUSI. 2C is ketamine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
there's a fun research drug called 2CB, which is different. But anyway, point being is like, oh, it's so much fun. I love it. Why don't you come back to Medellin? Why don't you come back to Medellin? Why don't you come back to Medellin? I'm like, dude, you got the 1 out of 10. Sorry, not 1 out of 10. 1 out of a million exception that is pretty and speaks English and has a US visa and is classy and has no tattoos and isn't addicted to drugs and has a working human brain in her head and isn't a hoe. The other girls don't have those characteristics. They're the opposite of that. They're brain dead and retarded. And I think like if you're looking for those type of girls and you invite them straight over, yeah, she's got tattoos, she's addicted to 2C, she's a total slut. I think that it's going to lower your conversion rate on the type of wifey material girls that you would like if you're not going for, at the bare minimum dinner at like an average restaurant. Like if you just match with some rocket and you're like, I mean, think about it. She's got, Alex, who's, got a husky and looks cool on Tinder, who's she's actually talking to Casey, but she thinks it's Alex telling her to come over and drink wine and Netflix, or XYZ guy, he's a 26-year-old plastic surgeon, probably making 600K a year, who's your competition, and he's offering Komodo. Who's she gonna go? Like, okay, the fuck boy who wants to fuck me and drink wine, or the rising star young plastic surgeon who wants to take me to. I don't think it's even possible to be a plastic surgeon when you're 26, but you get my point. I don't know. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I see what you're trying to get at, but I think you got to keep in mind that for girls, who they go on a date with and what happens on a date is largely emotional. It's not logical.
Mm.
So logically, you would be correct. It would make more sense for her to go with that guy, but I'm probably going to be more likely to make her laugh. I'm going to more likely to say something that gauges her interest, and she's going to feel that she's going to have a better time with me. I think that my experience has been pretty different from yours. The only thing I agree with is the speak English part. Yeah, a lot of girls don't speak English, which is annoying because I don't speak Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
and so I dislike that. But aside from that, I haven't really. I mean, I've encountered some girls like what you're describing, but the majority of girls have been like fairly normal. They have jobs. They have like the same amount of tattoos as girls in Miami do, or some of them have no tattoos. They're just normal people, like exactly what I would find in America. Now, granted, I live in Miami, so
Yeah, Miami's
my
not a normal city. It,
sure, but like the point I'm making is that like most of the girls I met up with in Medellin were pretty normal. Like I mean, look, I'm super picky when it comes to like wifey material. There's so many characteristics that need to be met. I never really like looked at that because obviously I was there for a short time. But I met some girls that definitely have potential, for sure. Um,
okay.
I, I don't think it's like like 99 or even like 80% like these fucking just total hoes. There are some of those. I feel like a lot of those will just ask for money up front and they get screened out.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Well, Medellin and Miami. I'm in Sao Paulo for the record, by the way. But yeah, Medellin and Miami are similar in that regard. So like a high
Oh,
percentage
one
of like.
thing they'll do is they'll ask you to take them to some fancy place. That's another way you can screen them out.
Well, yeah. Then that's another thing. If they bring it up, or here, okay. Here's another big thing that I say too. When I say take them to like a lavish restaurant, I shouldn't have chosen the term. What I mean is a solid 7 out of 10. What's a solid 7 out of 10 restaurant in Miami? Like North Italia, right? Would you agree? Or what's
I've
that
never
other?
eaten there, but like Quinto is probably needs to
Sure,
be
I don't
there.
know that place, but yeah, like, but then again, if I suggest, you said it was whatever the name you just said, that restaurant, let's call that restaurant you just said, it's a solid, respectable 7 out of 10 restaurant. She goes, how about Komodo, or how about Mastro's? That is a red flag, or a green flag, I should say, for gold digger money. But no, it's a red flag. It's a bad thing. So, and this is interesting. I love that. You know what's funny? We're almost and I feel like you and I have traditionally done this. We're disagreeing on quite a bit things. This makes an interesting podcast and really opens it up. It's like the classic, wrestler versus striker in MMA. Oh, it's all about striking. It's that one. All I need is one punch to knock you out. The other guy's like, well, I'm a wrestler. I'll put your ass on your fucking back before you even have a chance to hit me. And they both think they got a better strategy. Who wins? It's kind of a 50-50. I mean, I don't know. I'm not here to like analyze MMA stats of like who wins more, wrestlers or strikers, but you get my point. It could go um, either way. Okay, let's switch gears here. Actually, one thing I forgot to talk about, then we'll wrap up here in like the next, maybe like 15 or 20 minutes. But real quick, I wanted to ask you, because there's always new technology and new content creators coming out with stuff like this. Whether the app is Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, do you have any? Because we all know some of the obvious ones. We can even repeat these because they may not be obvious to the new people here. But do you have any? latest algorithmic tricks for, keeping your elo high, keeping you at the top of the stack, keeping your profile visible and seen to the highest
Yeah,
number of girls so you
yeah.
can get the
I
most
always I
matches.
always like reject that kind of stuff because I feel that half the time it just gives you a headache. But really, there's no good way to long term cheat the algorithm.
Hmm.
Essentially,
Yeah.
it really comes down to two things. Number one is what percentage of girls swipe right on you, like that swipe right ratio, whatever the fuck we call it. Number two, how active you are on the app. So we did a little experiment. We controlled for all factors, and one of them we barely used the app. We used it like once every 2 days, and one of them we used it multiple times a day. When we used it multiple times a day for that one, we got 3 times more matches. So
Wow.
it really matters. And if you think about it logically, it makes sense. They want you on the app, so you're exposed to their commercials, so you're more likely to upgrade. So
And the users have a good user experience. Who the girls you match with, you actually talk to them, which creates a good user experience as well. That's another metric they track.
according to an article I read, it plays a role. I don't think it plays a substantial role. I think the two big things is what percentage of girls swipe right on you, and how often you use the app. But yes,
Well,
sure.
I'm just saying that's why a dating app would reward usage, because if you're active and you're using it, you're giving the other users a good
Oh, okay.
experience.
I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Like girls don't like guys who match with them and then ghost them, or vice versa. But if active users are actively being active with one another, the user experience goes up and people use it more and
Yeah.
pay more.
Tinder will also, to some extent, reward that in of itself. But yeah, really, those are the two big things. I don't recommend doing the constant profile resets. I just don't recommend that. I've seen way too many people get shadow banned for doing that. I don't recommend like really just trying to like focus on the algorithm anything more than what I said. You're not going to cheat the algorithm. There's in the past you could have with certain things, but they catch on pretty quick. So I would focus on getting the best possible photos, and that will do most of the work. Don't focus on like fucking what random trick on Reddit I can find about the
Yeah,
algorithm.
yeah. Some people were commenting that like the greatest thing right now is to, like, obviously reset your account, make a whole new Tinder, delete it and make a new one, and then wait till prime time and buy those, super ultra boosts and never swipe. Like that, they say the second you swipe you start lowering your elo. They say to go in there, buy like your super ultra swipes, and then of the girls that liked your photos, you only, swipe left and right on the girls that you like show up in your Tinder goal that liked you. The issue with this is,
Yeah, I
if you
don't
don't
like
have an
that.
extremely optimized great, profile with a super good main picture, you're just going to super boost and get like 3 girls in there. You just spent, $80 for, 2 likes. And the problem is they're getting this from these YouTubers like FitX Fearless and Austin Dunham, who are, they look like they're AI generated physical black specimens of men in Miami. And people are wondering, like, well, like, I don't think it's the algorithmic trick. I think looking like an AI generated model with like 3D muscles and being a black guy in Miami is what's actually doing it. But people are pretty low IQ. Like, no, it's the way he hacked the algorithm.
I would. Austin Dunham is not bad, but FitFX Fearless, I would not really listen to anything he says. Um, so okay, so I have a few issues with this. So number one, every time you reset your profile, you risk getting shadow banned. If you do it once, you'll probably be okay. But if you continue doing this, at some point you will get shadow banned. I've just seen it happen so many times. So I do not recommend these constant resets. I really
When he says
don't.
reset, you mean you formally delete your Tinder and make a new one.
Yeah,
Sometimes guys use different phone numbers and credit
yeah,
cards and stuff.
and yeah, all of that.
Because and the reason, just for the new people here, because we got to recommend, not all of our audience is like seasoned on this stuff. When your Tinder account or any account is new, you're at the top of the stack, you're seeing the hottest girls, and the
You get the
algorithm
new
is,
boost, yeah.
yeah, you get it's almost like you're permanently super boosted. So like, you can buy those boosts and
Well,
those
it
super
only
boosts.
lasts 48 hours though, 48 to 72
Okay.
hours.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
I still think, I think, like, yeah, the major boost is like 48 hours, but I think that there's some love that trickles into like even like the first week, and it probably dies out by the end of the
at
first week,
most
maybe.
at most you get some love trickling in for like the week, yeah.
Yeah, for
But
the
again,
most.
like if you do it once, you'll probably be okay. But if you do it multiple times,
Yeah,
you
I,
have
I
a
I do it about once a month, and I've never had an issue. I don't know if that's pushing it by your standards. But yeah, I'm good for about one a month. I make a new one. Just
Well,
delete
I'm
it.
glad. Yeah, I'm glad it's worked out for you. I think once a month is kind of pushing it a bit. Yeah, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, if it's worked, it's worked.
It's just, dude,
Uh,
it's just so tempting to get that avalanche of like the hottest girls. You show up first. They're a lot of things come down to attacking things at on two spectrums, right? One is like how good is your profile, and then number two is like how much love the algorithm is showing you. Some for the most time, you think it's the algorithm fucking you. It's the same thing with like content, any like content creator. You think, oh, the algorithm hates me. It's like, no, bro, people just didn't like your video, or no, bro, girls just didn't like your photos. That's why a lot of guys get a passport and all of a sudden, oh, I'm unbanned from Tinder. Yeah, because you got a passport. You went to another country. But okay, anything else you want to say on this, or should we just move on?
one last thing I want to say on this. So the other thing, which is doing a super boost and not swiping. I'll be honest, I've never done super boost, but I've done plenty of regular boosts. And when you're doing a boost and you're not swiping, you get a lot less matches than you would if you were swiping.
So saying
You
don't use
don't.
super boost. Yeah, I agree too.
No,
I've had
no,
some like,
I'm saying I haven't used it. I'm not saying you should
oh,
not
okay,
use it.
oh, okay,
I'm just saying that my observation with regular boost, and I think it's probably the same for super boost, is that if you're not swiping, if you're just whatever, just chilling, you're going to get a lot less likes than you would. And it actually shows you that. It shows you how much your profile is boosted by. And when you're not swiping, it's like 3x maybe. But if you are swiping, it's like 8 or 9x. So yeah, I mean, again, like I think Tinder wants you to use the app. So I
yeah,
fundamentally disagree with this idea of just like using this boost and then just not using the app. I think that's a silly
yeah,
idea.
yeah. I don't know. Again, they're going off of like guys who could be offered like modeling contracts, but also yeah. Anyway, okay, we'll try to wrap it up in the next like 15 minutes
Didn't
here.
you say
Just
you want to talk about something related to like fresh and fit or whatever?
yeah, let's get into that. So, Fresh and Fit are my good friends. I've known them since before they had the show. I was actually there the day they met each other. I've known them as long as they've known each other. I was there the exact moment that they met. I've been on their show multiple times, and it kind of pains me, to dating. I know you don't identify as red pill, but manosphere, whatever you want to call it, not red pill, but manosphere, dating guru guys, whatever in Miami. Two great content creators and good friends of mine, Fresh and Fit and Alex from Playing with Fire. Unfortunately, had or maybe still have a little bit of a beef. Hopefully, I can mend things with you guys. But yeah, how did that go down? What's your side of the story?
I don't know if I would say we have like a beef. I just disagree with a lot of the things they say, and I think that they're massive hypocrites in a lot of ways. But initially, how it started. So I also used to know Myron way before Fresh and Fit. He was. We actually were, let's say, like somewhere between acquaintance and friend. Probably closer to acquaintance. But yeah, he initially messaged me on Instagram because he liked my channel. And at that time, I had like 10,000, 15,000 subs. So I was much more inclined to meet up with like random people because it was like, oh shit, fuck, someone likes me from my YouTube channel. We met up a few times. We went out and tried to pick up girls. I didn't really like him as a wing because I felt like he would just rage quit conversations way too fast. And then I just didn't think he made a good wing because of that. But so I stopped going out with him to pick up girls, but we still chatted. Actually, when he started the channel, I gave him a lot of positive encouragement. I said, "Hey, man, you hit your first 5K. Good job, man. Keep at it." But really, I think Myron got upset with me because, and this is just like super silly, but essentially what happened was he wanted to come on my channel to talk about fitness. And this was like literally a week or two after. This was way before Fresh and Fit began, just to paint the picture. And this was like a week after I had another fitness guy, and the live stream totally bombed. So Myron had already told me at this point that he's going to start a whatever, like a dating type of podcast. So I said, hey, let's do that. I'll be happy to have you on. But like fitness is just not popping with my community. Why don't we do that once you start your dating channel, And didn't mean they have to be popular. I reached out to him to do that, that thing when they were at like 10K subs. So it wasn't like I didn't reach out to them until they were like more popular than me. It was just that like I knew that just a random fitness stream with someone no one's ever heard of was not going to perform well, and I think he took that the wrong way. Another thing that I think he took the wrong way is during that fitness stream, he was in the live chat and he was like really going in on the person who I had on the screen. And one of my moderators, I think it was actually Indian P, who did not know that I was like friendly with Myron, said, "Hey, if you're gonna shit on the whatever on one of the people, then we're gonna have to ask you to leave or something like that." Like something like that, nothing crazy. Uh, and Myron took that really personally. Like I think he called me right after that stream and said like, "Yo, man, what's going on with your mod?" I was like, "Oh, I just don't think he knows that we know each other." And then like I think he just got really like obsessed with that because I like every time I would run into him at the gym because we used to go to the same gym and we don't live that far apart. Like I would be like, "Hey, Myron, how you doing, man?" He'd be like, "Pretty good." "So what's going on with that mod?" I was like, "What? What mod?" He's like, the guy that gave me shit." I was like, "Oh, like you're still thinking about that?" So that really, I think, he built resentment towards me for those two reasons. But yeah, I mean, like I think initially when they started off, their content wasn't that bad, but I just don't respect a lot of their talking points. I think they're blatantly wrong. I think they cherry pick their opponents for debates. And I think that they're spreading some bad information,
What
which
would be an
causes.
example of like some bad information?
Yeah, sure. So there would be multiple. Like I would say one of the things would be that girls today are becoming more and more promiscuous every day, right? And like, girls today are told different than 20 years ago. There's so few of these relationship only girls. Sometimes you have to, like, I'm personally going to go back to Sudan or where the fuck he's from to get, when I'm ready to get married. And just he pretends like he knows statistics, but he doesn't. I've looked at the study that he's talking about, and the top 5% of the most promiscuous girls from like 20 years ago are more promiscuous today, but the other 95% of girls are equal level, if not a little bit less promiscuous. So he's kind of setting this idea that, oh shit, you can't date a girl nowadays. There's no good girls left in the West, which is just blatantly false. That would be one of the things. I mean, I have examples like that for days, but that would be one.
Yeah, so my thoughts on this. Well, obviously I love Fresh and Fit, good friends of mine. I will say one thing about Myron. He definitely is a little bit of a hothead, and he definitely is big on respect. If he ever he gives respect, and he's a respect worthy guy himself. And if he ever feels that someone has disrespected him, yeah, look out. He's really big. He gives respect and he commands it in return. And I guess he felt like someone the mod maybe
But the
should have
problem
known.
is that respect cannot be equivalent to blind 100% loyalty. Like you and I did this podcast and we disagreed, but that doesn't mean we respect each other less, right? You can have
Yeah.
disagreements. Like some of the people I respect the most in this world, like my roommate Davey, he's like a low key Trump supporter. I totally fucking disagree with him on that. We debate it all the time, but it doesn't mean I respect him less. So I feel like he just takes respect to like a really unhealthy level where it's just like either you have blind loyalty or you don't. Because like if you look at the two things, if you take what I said at face value, they really shouldn't be a big deal. That one of my moderators uh, told him that if he keeps shitting on the person, he would have to leave. And I actually did apologize to him for that on the phone call. I said, dude, like, I'm sorry about that. He had no idea that you and I were friendly. Um, so, like, really, you're going to hold a grudge for that? Or the second thing is that I want to wait until your podcast was created before I had you on. He just, again, in his mind, he sees it as like, oh, Alex is a fucking cloud shark. He only want to use me for cloud once we create our channel. He wouldn't like put me on before that. But like I sent him that message when he had like 5 or 10,000 subscribers. So it wasn't like, I waited until they were
Mhm.
ahead of me. It was like I just wanted the episode to do well. That's generally what I try to do when I have things on my channel. Uh,
Interesting.
and also just I don't like the lying to the audience and the narrative switching is just and the hypocrisy. Like a good example of that with the most recent incident is Myron said explicitly that she's not a prostitute, that there's no way she could have gone a visa if she was a prostitute, that she comes from a really good family, blah blah blah. And
Which girl?
then
This is the Asian
Daisy,
chick,
Daisy, yeah,
Daisy.
yeah.
Yeah. For those
And
who
as
don't
soon as
know, this is like Fresh's alleged baby mama who may have been making up the whole thing, who I think got an abortion, or I don't even know what
no,
the fuck's going on.
Myron will. Well, everyone admits that she was pregnant, but she did get an abortion. Yeah, but everyone knows that she was pregnant. I think
Well,
even
we
Myron
can't.
did.
I don't think we can trust for. I mean, how do we know? You can Photoshop anything. I mean, believe me, I've gotten onto a lot of planes that said I had taken certain medicine injections around the year 2020 when I never had such medicine injections due to the magic of Photoshop. So we could all show a document that says one thing. But anyway, yeah. Well, we'll continue on that so that she's not a prostitute, or she was saying she's not a prostitute, or she is a prostitute.
Yeah, I just don't like the narrative switching. Like when she's with Fresh, and they want to prop up, I guess, their brand. She comes from a good family. She's not a prostitute. She's a professional woman, very good woman. And then as soon as that relationship falls apart, and she starts calling him out, she's a prostitute. She's a criminal.
Well,
I
to be
can
fair, there may have been new things, yeah, that came to their attention, right? Like it could have been such that, um, all her lavish stuff was from some, ex-millionaire boyfriend that I think she did have, and then after all this came out, that hidden camera footage of the guy, proving that she was a prostitute, of them like negotiating in the hotel, that came out after all these allegations she made against Rush
so
after
yes
the whole
and
drama. So like I don't think that
so
they would.
So not exactly, because Myron did not just get this from a random person. There's another dude who's like, I think people call him Myron White, who uploaded all this stuff to his YouTube channel way before or not way, but before the relationship was over. Just Myron conveniently chose to reveal that information after the relationship was over.
Oh,
But like, if we go to a more clear cut example, this is just black and white. Myron saying that Fresh did not pay her $15,000 or $30,000, whatever the fuck it was, for the Van Cleef bracelet, and that was just a blatant lie. Like that was just revealed really badly, which is why in their responses, they've done 3 responses, they never talk about the bracelet. Right? If that was a lie, they would probably leverage that, but they never ever
hmm.
mention that. So I just
I
don't
didn't.
like that kind of lying to your audience.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not aware of like the bracelet thing, but I'll say one thing about Fresh and Fit. They they had, and also to this day still have, probably the largest, whatever you want to call it, men's dating space, red pill, men's improvement channel podcast in the world. They've graciously let me on their platform many times, even though I'm a nobody. I have maybe around 4.7 or 5K, something like that, subscribers. Yeah, I think like 4,700 at the time of making this, and they've always been loyal to me. They've always been good. They've always treated me with respect. I helped them out in the beginning, and they've, like I said, graciously let me out of their platform many times when they don't have to, just because they remember, I used to
Myron
like
is
some.
very loyal. I'll
Yeah, he's
fully grant
extremely
him that.
loyal guy.
Extremely
Yeah,
loyal. Yeah.
extremely loyal guy, and Fresh has been the same. So I don't know. I don't know about if something about a bracelet, or if little things about this, that nobody's perfect. Maybe, I don't know, confusion or white lies or misunderstandings, who knows. But I'm just saying, you're cool, they're cool people, you're both good people. I would hope that someday you guys could be friends and make content together. It just sucks that, like, us as like men's manosphere, whatever, dating coaches, people, that the world already hates us so much, and everyone's channel is always like 2 uploads away from getting formally banned or shadow banned. We shouldn't bicker amongst ourselves, and if you have some reason to, I don't think you hold much bitterness. I don't think he holds much
No,
bitterness.
I
So
don't.
I don't
I
know.
don't.
Maybe.
I don't hold any bitterness, but yeah. I mean, like, look, I'll criticize the stuff they say. I don't really go after them personally much.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'll throw in a lot of jokes, like I'll say "fresh as brain dead," but I don't really. That's not the That's not the point when I'm doing like covering something. The second thing I'll say is that I would be happy. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever be friends, but I'd be happy to debate them. I've offered that many, many times. They're the ones that don't want to debate me. And I think the reason they don't want to debate me is because they always want to be like the red pill guys. So they call the other people blue pill. Like, for example, Destiny, even though he's a good debater, they could be like, oh, you're blue pill, blah, blah, blah. But I can actually like really go into depth and nuance about their talking points, and it can be like not give like the PC answer, but actually like say, okay, I see where you're coming from, but this is why you're wrong according to this data point and this logical point. So yeah, I mean, like, look, I would probably have a lot more respect for them if they're willing to actually debate.
I'll tell you what. I'll bring that to. I was like, hey, Alex respects you. He definitely disagrees with some things you guys are saying. He has a huge channel and a huge audience. You guys have a huge channel and a huge audience. Either way, it seems like a win-win because, like I just said, it's people love debates and it's like a much smaller version of like one of those celebrity
They
boxing
won't
matches,
do
right?
it. I'm down, but there's no way they're gonna do it.
You don't think so? Well, we'll
I've had
see.
people have super chatted in and like, hey, will you debate Alex from PWF? And Myron's like, no,
Well,
it's
whatever.
worth a shot.
Hopefully, yeah. Well, whatever. Well, that's the story of the beef. As long as there's, I mean, there's misunderstanding and there, or not misunderstanding. There's differing of opinions, whatever, different perspectives, disagreements is what I meant to say. But in the end, I think you guys all, respect each other. It's not like on a personal level. So
Well, I respect some things about Myron. I respect how hardworking he is. I expect how loyal he is. Respect how loyal he is. There's other things that I don't respect, but yeah, I mean, like I have actually defended them at certain times. Like when they got demonetized, I defended them on that. I was like, hey, I don't think they should get demonetized,
yeah,
but they kind of made a lot of silly mistakes that brought on themselves. And it's not the things that people say. It's not has nothing to do with them dating advice. It was the whole Nick Fuentes JQ thing. That's really what it was. And then the maybe to some extent the whatever let's call it racist stuff.
yeah.
It
It's more
wasn't
that's
their
more
dating.
political, right? Like that's one thing I noticed about YouTube is like if you want to get a little bit anti-feminism, a little bit more in the men's rights direction, I think like even the big tech companies are like, damn, we really can't hide this anymore. People want to talk about this. Maybe feminism has gone too far, and that's like opening up for discussion. But the second you get political, that's where they draw the line. They're like, nope, because they do not want another Republican uh, in the office. Okay, man. Well, shit, we've
I
been
don't know
on.
if I agree with that. I think it just don't. If you bring on Nick Fuentes, there's a 50% chance your channel will get demonetized. I
Well,
think it's just as
put
simple
it.
as that.
Well, yeah. I mean, but put it this way. I'm good friends with RSD Tyler Owen Cook, and
Mhm.
he behind the scenes works with so many large YouTubers and content creators. It would like blow your mind.
I believe it.
So many of the big channels have worked with him and paid exorbitant amounts for his consulting and stuff like that. At one point or another, Brandon Carter, Kino. I mean, so many of these big people that and and it's kind of a known thing. Even oh, by the way, I have an insider at Google who told me Fresh and Fit is going to get demonetized. True story. I texted Myron and said, "Yeah, you're going to get demonetized." Like my friend saying he can literally see the support ticket. It's like Kelly so and so that's like handling the case, and she's marked it as like, yeah, it's approved for demonetization, and you may want to let them know and blah blah blah. And maybe if they take it down or something. So anyway, through various channels. Yeah, politics is one thing that you really want to be careful with YouTube
But
and
you
shadow
have
bands Google.
people like Charlie Kirk on YouTube, who's definitely right wing. You have people like Destiny takes some, even though he's closer to the left, he takes some very controversial positions on certain things.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's easier for the people that are like Steven Crowder or something like that. People always want to talk about, oh well, what about Steven Crowder, or well, what about this person? I think when you get that big, you're a bit more protected for
yeah,
for various reasons. But I think like I don't put it this way. I don't think as like starting from zero, a brand new channel. If I'm spitting far right wing propaganda from the beginning today on a new channel, I don't see that channel going anywhere.
um,
Uh,
I
could
we
be
would disagree
wrong,
with that.
but
I think if you avoid the Jewish stuff, you'll probably
okay.
be okay.
So yeah, maybe that was like the final straw. But I mean, Google was definitely aware of Fresh and Fit, and it wasn't their first strike. But that's what I'm saying. The world already hates us. We gotta like again. I won't name any names, but there's even a lot of red pill creators that or when I say red pill, I don't mean like MGTOW, hate women. I mean just like dating manosphere. So I have a bit different definition of red pill. But there's a lot of creators I think just like yeah, say kind of like stupid shit. But I try not to what's the word like I don't know hate on anybody, especially in this space because fuck, man, like everyone already hates us already. Everyone already wants us, off the internet. People do not like when you point out certain truths about dating or just in general, like men's self-help is hasn't really like caught on yet. It's not
Yeah,
like
I don't
a
want to see
thing.
Fresh and Fit get canceled. I really believe it's free speech and everyone should get a voice, even if I disagree with most of the stuff they say. But like, just I'm not trying to say this to like make me seem like the good guy, but to kind of prove buttress this point, when Fresh and Fit, I think it was a year and a half ago or so, when they were going to do their Seeking Arrangement episode, I saw they announced it. I texted Myron and I was like, "Yo, we don't like each other, but you should not do that episode. Seeking Arrangement tried to sue me. You should not like do an episode on Salt Daddy Game." And they wound up doing it, and then that episode wound up going down within like fucking 12 hours. They got
Oh
lucky that they
jeez.
just got to the episode down. They could have wound up with a lawsuit. So yeah, look, I don't want to see anyone get canceled unless they're like inciting violence directly. And Fresh and Fit is obviously not doing that. But there are certain things that I just like. Another thing, I'll just throw this last thing out there, is they should do a better job of encouraging their fans not to harass some of the girls that get kicked off the show. I've talked to some of those girls, the Monica girl, and I've seen her DMs. I've seen it with my own eyes, and it's like just pure harassment. And we're not talking about like, hey, you fat bitch. It's like, hey, you should go kill yourself for these reasons. And they really don't do a
Oh,
they
the
actually don't
internet.
do any kind of a job of dissuading their audience from doing that. And I think that's important. Uh, yeah, I know.
Well, I'll
That's
say
that's
one
my
thing: Myron has no mercy for these hoes. If you're talking about Myron Gaines having mercy or empathy for these hoes that come into his house on his amazing platform, he gives them a chance, and they make an idiot of themselves, and they're rude, do things like I've seen girls spit water on him, slap him. I'm talking about in person, and if he doesn't want to necessarily come to their defense, I can't say that I blame him, but
It's
yeah,
not
or that
about
the girls don't deserve
coming
it.
to defense. It's just about like basic human decency. And I will agree with you. Some girls should have been kicked out, the ones who were like blatantly disrespectful. But I've also seen episodes of girls getting kicked out for literally just disagreeing with Myron.
Fair enough. It's usually I would say when they disagree in like a disrespectful way. I think if I don't know if you can show me a clip, or maybe you prove me wrong, where she's like healthily, respectfully disagreeing, and he just kicks her out. Cool.
Monica would be a good one. Yeah.
Send me that clip. But
Okay. Sure.
until then, sweet man. Well, shit. We've been on for almost 2 hours now. I told you beginning hour to hour and a half, so you stayed over. Man,
It's all
super
good. It was a
appreciative of
fun
your
discussion.
time.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
worries, man.
Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, or do you want to get going here? Or?
I'm chill to stay on for a bit longer, but yeah, I think we covered everything. I don't know, unless you have any questions.
I had a few more. Maybe we'll save it for like a future episode. Maybe we'll do this again sometime. Also, we're almost like 2 hours and stuff. So I was going to ask you. Yeah, you know what? I'll save those questions for perhaps another day if you would do me the honor. In the future sometime.
Yeah, I'd be happy
Um,
to.
Sweet. Okay, well, shit. I mean, just in summary, guys, I said it before. This is like a classic case of like the grappler versus the striker, who both have impeccable MMA records, but go about doing it in a different way. We all at the macro level, we agree on really sharp photography, testing a lot of photos, going out getting a lot of photos done. We think online is the future. 75% of his lays come from online. I would probably put myself in the same bucket. Being on multiple apps, really, really investing into this shit. I mean, dude, someday we're gonna be on the fucking Oculus. You're gonna be in like VR picking up girls. Like, it's gonna come sooner than you think. So he and I are both on the cutting edge of this. But when we get down to the nitty gritty, I guess there's a little bit of which pose is better, or how it exactly to do social proof, or some of the little things. But in the end, yeah, or in our text game, I'm very much like lover boyish. Here's our connection. Oh, this is why you're special. This is why I like you. And Alex is more cocky and brash, almost like a Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, like like not in like a dickhead way, but just very like keeps it business, teases them a bit more, more to the point. I'm a lot more verbose, and again, it's like the romantic, like the weekends are very like, oh, romantic guy, and then like Vin Diesel's character from the Fast and Furious, very masculine guy, and they're both like very popular with the ladies. So be like Bruce Lee, be like water. Water, when water goes into the cup, it becomes the cup. Like, be like water. have your own style. And I'd love to have, people come on here too. We could also discuss, other topics and, techniques. But shit, man, a legend. It was a fucking honor. I mean, like I said, this guy is the niche. He doesn't make like you cannot go to YouTube or even think about Tinder matching, how to make a profile, how to do photos, how to text a girl, how to originate a conversation without seeing this guy everywhere. And I've seen his courses. He's giving me a free copy. It's amazing. We'll put all his information, how you can contact him,